Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Series 12 of the Plant-Based Podcast is sponsored by People, Plants, Wellbeing. This is the place where you can find your magic through the power of plants and nature. Relax at a nature immersive retreat, wellness day, forest bathing walk, or why not contact the studio about a tailored team day for your work colleagues' wellbeing. Later in the episode, we'll be giving you an exclusive discount code for all podcast listeners, and this can be used for money off People, Plants, Wellbeing services. Find out more about nature-based wellbeing studio at peopleplantswellbeing.com or on Instagram under People, Plants, Wellbeing. Hey guys. We love Ben. Who doesn't love Ben? He's the infamous British flower grower who extols the virtues of the Alstroemeria, aka the Peruvian lily. But he also runs a very successful campaign, British Flowers Rock. And here he works tirelessly to uplift all UK flower growers. He's a ball of energy, and we know we're in for a good time on the podcast today. Welcome, Ben. How are you?
I am very good. So we're recording this end of August, and it's still 30 odd degrees in the greenhouses. So I'm being kept busy, and it's still pretty hot. So
fresh from the
plants are recovering. Yeah, so it's all good. Still busy. So yeah,
very busy. That's a good thing to be. Welcome to the podcast, Ben. We were wondering if perhaps you could tell us about yourself in just 3 words. No. Just joking. You can use 3 paragraphs if you like. Just basically tell us all about yourself.
But no longer, because I know you do talk a lot.
I do talk a lot. Yeah, I do. I've done over 600 British Flowers Rock talks since 2014. So that's over 600 hours of talking about what I do, isn't it? In a way. So,
can I just say before we set the scene even more, I came to your talk that you did at Chiswick Flower Market. Did you know that you ran over time by about 100%?
No, so it started late.
The talk was, did it really? But I think it was almost like double the time.
So I had an hour and a half.
The content was amazing, though, honestly. Yeah. You were just in your element, and that is what we love. So, yeah, thank you. Anyway, those 3 paragraphs.
Those 3 paragraphs. Oh, well, it is just Ben. It's not Benjamin. So there you go. There's a fun fact.
Yeah,
it is
cool.
Ben and not Benjamin. Born and bred down here in Sussex, West Sussex, near Chai. You don't say Chichester, you say Chai. And,
really? Did not know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, don't call it Chichester, it's Chai. So between Pompey and Brighton is where I'm based, down here on the south coast. And it wasn't all flowers. I did marine biology from 2000 to 2011. Sort of went down to Kernow, Cornwall, Devon, studied that. Lived around the world. Growing up in the country here on the flower ranch, I was always interested in the environment, my surroundings, the wider sort of world, environmental issues. So I wanted to do something environmental, and obviously I was into surfing and the beach. So I naturally sort of went into marine biology, and then enjoyed living around the world and doing that kind of stuff, but got fed up of working for big companies. And I saw my family and their friends that own flower farms sort of go out of business very quickly, and I just felt compelled to come back, and I didn't want that to happen to my sort of family roots,
Because it was was it a family business then, and you'd obviously witnessed that from a young age? Were you working in there when you were a lot younger as well?
Yeah, so I run Crosslands Flower Nursery, obviously, which we've been going and growing since 1936.
Wow.
I'm 4th generation grower, And it wasn't like I was forced to come back. You know, my parents were very good in letting me do what I want. And so I naturally wanted to not have like a normal 9 to 5 job, and wanted to help the planet as best I could. And I say I involved the scuba diving and the sailing and all that with the marine biology. And then, something sort of clicked inside me that I didn't want my family business to die out like a lot of other flower farms. And I came back in 2011, and then it was very tough between 2011 and 2014, and then had a bit of a brainwave. Well, I'm not getting any help, and that's when I started the British Flowers Rock movement in 2014. And people are still booking me up for 2024. So that'll be next year. Will be 10 years of doing it. And if you'd asked me in 2014, I'd still be being invited on beautiful podcasts like this with you guys, and doing that, you know, as we said, the Chiswick Flower Market and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm doing Wisley, a Wisley Flower Show, Sunday the 10th of September. It's coming up. So there's no way I would have believed you. So it's more than 3 paragraphs, but there you go. There's a brief.
No worries, man. Well, I think there's a lot to unpack there, and I want to take it all in turn. So, first of all, give us a bit more about your childhood and tell us about the nursery Crosslands, how long it had been around for, what it was growing originally, kind of, was there a question you might be involved in it when you were young, or was that something you were running away from, or kind of give us a bit more kind of a history of the nursery and your kind of first horticultural kind of exposures as well.
Yeah, so really briefly, some of you may have heard, some listeners may have heard of the Land Settlement Association, the LSA. We had the Great Depression of the 30s, high unemployment, and back then the government set up over 20 areas around the UK where unemployed families would go and work and farm the land. And the largest one of these sort of settlements of market gardens was down here near China, a place called Siddlesham. There's about 150 market gardens set up just down here at Siddlesham, about 4 or 5 acres each. And families would be given a house, a pack house, a water reservoir. You'd be given greenhouses, and you'd be allowed to just get on and grow stuff. And my great-grandparents were originals, so they were one of the original families that signed up to this government sort of initiative, Albert and Louisa. And then my granddad joined them after World War II. He met my nan, who was a Pompey girl, and had my dad, uncles and aunties down at the Siddlesham settlement. And then we moved here in 57. So, yes, we've been going since 1936. We've been based here since 57. And I was born in 82. So one of my first memories was the big storm of 87. So that blew down a lot of our older wooden greenhouses. And one of the first things I did as a 4 or 5-year-old was Granddad gave me a bucket, and I was in there picking up the broken glass, you know. Luckily he had insurance, so the greenhouses were rebuilt. But yeah, I've got very good memories of being basically growing up here, and we've got fields and woodland, and the beach is 5 minutes to the south. The South Downs are 5 minutes to the north. And one of my earliest memories is basically getting involved from a 5-year-old, and Granddad used to send me up to collect the flowers in the troughs, and he used to give me 1p, 2p coins every time I brought them back down to the shed. And so it wasn't necessarily an expectation, but I just enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed having that purpose as a young age to sort of grow stuff, and that addiction of looking after plants and keeping them healthy, and they generate flowers and then you give them to people, and it's sort of a lovely little cycle. So from an early age, I was exposed to everything, you know, really quick. So
you always had your green fingers, but you discovered some blue fingers along the way.
Good.
Marine
Pun of the day. Pun of the day.
So it came like, you know, when you fill out those, it's like the old BBC computers at school. And, you know, those green sort of screens. And,
because we are older than you, so we might remember them actually. Yeah.
But when you just said your age, I was like, oh.
Just a little.
I don't know.
When you just said the year you were born, I was feeling really ashamed.
All right. Well, you look good. You look good. I would say you look about my age. So well done. You don't look older than me. And so it was that sort of job, sort of career time, and it was just. for me, it was park ranger or, environmental sort of stuff, outdoor stuff. So instead of doing the park ranger, which I could have done in the South Downs, I decided to head to the water. And obviously I love Cornwall. When I was at school, I did a surfboard making course down in Cornwall when I was 15, 16, and did it at a beautiful college that did marine biology. And I wanted to go back there. And from there, I didn't sort of look back. So that's how I got into the blue fingers, really. Is that
a mix of green and blue fingers? Does that make purple? So do you have purple fingers?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, there you go. So when you left to, go down to the coast in Cornwall, what was the nursery growing at the time? Have they always been growing the same flowers, or has it varied over the years?
Yes, obviously we specialise in the Peruvian lily, Alstroemeria. It's obviously common name is Peruvian lily of the Inca, because it was naturally grows halfway up the Andes in Chile and Peru, and it was a Swedish baron turned botanist called Alstroemeria, pretty much, that found the plant, and that's how it's got its Latin name. So a lot of people struggle to say Alstroemeria, and they miss out the E between the O and the M all the time, and it really bugs me. People spell Alstroemeria without that first E between the O and the M. There you go. It's a room 101 of mine. But yeah, so when you were part of the government scheme, you would grow lots of different things. And then when we first moved to Crosslands in 57, it was a continuation. So when you were part of the LSA, the government would sell all your produce through the scheme, a bit like a marketing tool. So they'd go to my grandparents, Mr. Cross, I sold you cabbages for that much, your courgettes for that much, here's your percentage.
Really?
It was seen as a bit like a Kickstarter or crowdfunding program where the government would give you the land, give you the infrastructure, want you to get on well with it, so then you could set up on your own. And that's what my granddad did after my great-grandparents. So when we first moved here in 57, it was very much a continuation of a menagerie of farm animals, growing lots of veggie crops, salad crops, a bit of flowers. But then the key thing was the birth of the supermarkets in the 60s, 70s. People wanted stuff all year round, way out of season, and all the imported stuff was coming in very, very cheaply in very, very high volume. So no longer could growers grow lots of different things and make a living from it, because the supermarkets and shops weren't interested in that. So the whole point of growing Alstroemeria back then was that it was seen as a good alternative crop, because it doesn't need a lot of heat, it doesn't need a lot of water. With the commercial varieties in about a metre squared, we'd expect about 200 to 300 viable stems in a square metre over an annual cycle. So multiply that by the land we had. We then had a product. We could supply the wholesalers and supermarkets, the public basically, with an all year round crop back when the supermarkets and wholesalers wanted to buy British and buy local from within their country. So yeah, it started off very much growing lots of different things, and we found ourselves growing Alstroemeria because I guess Grandad didn't use the word sustainability back then, but it goes back to the same thing as what we hear all the time: right plant, right place. Why try and grow something on a small, medium or large scale that takes a lot of input to get a little bit out of it? Or why not grow Alstroemeria down here in Sussex, where we're now classed as a temperate region because we only had one frost in December, one frost in January. There's a lot of vineyards popping up down my way where it's too hot in southern Spain, France and Italy, and the vineyards are popping up here now. It's and we've just had the recent weather in Morocco, North Africa. It's too hot, not enough water to get our 5 a day. We can only have 2 cucumbers this week, in our supermarkets. So climate change is a big thing. And back then, Alstroemeria was just seen as a good alternative crop to grow down here in Sussex. And since the 60s, 70s, that's what we specialised in because it loves growing here. Yeah.
At what point did you then come back to the nursery? What kind of called you back, and how did that play out? And how long ago indeed was that? Just remind us.
Yeah, so I did marine biology from 2000 to 2011, sort of studied it and worked it. And it's probably around like 2009, 2010, when I did marine biology, I would still come back here. So some holidays or breaks, or where my parents, uncles, aunties needed a hand, I would work at weekends. And I just saw the area where I live in Sussex. There were hundreds of acres of flowers grown just in Sussex, let alone the UK. I mean, just in the village, there was probably about 6 or 7 flower nurseries, plant nurseries, just in my village that were just disappearing very, very quickly. And as I say, I just it's that sort of childhood. You don't want to let it see it die, really. And it's just right and wrong. If we can grow something of quality sustainably in our own country, why are our own people losing out on their livelihoods and their history and their passions and their knowledge of doing it? And I just didn't want it to be lost. I guess I didn't want Crosslands just to be lost with all the other people.
It's cool. It's a really brave thing to do. Yeah,
it is.
Lots of people told me, Ben, what are you doing? Because you have a pension, you have a monthly wage, but I think it's like that. Anyone running their own show, so people could be working for, I don't know, a big company and then want to do, turn their hobby into their job or their life or their career. And it's a lot of people do it, and I ended up doing it.
Yeah, you took the risk. Excellent. You took the risk, but you obviously, that was a calculated risk that was both emotional investment in it as well, because it was your family, but you knew how this ran and you were passionate about it. And I think that's, really amazing. And over the past, I don't know, maybe 10 years, maybe a bit less than that, British flowers have really, I see them everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like within horticulture, more is being talked about British flowers. And I'm interested to know from your perspective, how do you find British flowers compared to flowers that are bought from overseas? And how do you stay competitive? Because obviously it's a massive flower market overseas. How do you keep your British flowers on the market at a price that's suitable? Like, how do they compare?
There's lots to unpack there. First of all, I guess we haven't spoken about it, but the main thing of me, I guess, coming on and talking, the main fact is that over 90% of cut flowers in the UK are imported now. And 50 years ago, 90% of flowers were English or British. So the problem of losing a lot of growers has happened very, very quickly. It's not like over 100 years or 200 years, like a lot of other industries. It's happened very, very quickly from the 40s and 50s to the 80s and 90s. That's the big decline. So for a lot of listeners that maybe don't know, that over 90% is imported. And yes, 60% of British population buy their flowers from supermarkets, whether that's a supermarket delivery to your house or you going into store. But there's also letterbox companies, florists, farm shops import flowers to have a nice display, or even you might be sat in your local cafe restaurant that have a locally sustainably sourced food menu. Where's those flowers that have come from that are on your dining room tables? Or you might go to the hairdresser and see a vase of flowers on the reception. There's over 90% chance that they've been flown in and they're not homegrown. And we want to be talking about homegrown and not flown. So that's that. Also about the price. My costs of fertilizer and water and electric have gone up between 600-800% recently, just like everyone's living costs and all this stuff that's been going on the last couple of years. It seems that affects growers and farmers as well, big time. So again, luckily, Alstroemeria doesn't need a lot of water and a lot of input. So again, growing a crop that doesn't take all of this input gives you a chance as well. So yes, there's certain flowers that we can't grow as well here or as sustainably here as other countries. But as I say, Alstroemeria, we've been doing it since the 60s, 70s, and it loves it here. And obviously people near to me can get it the same day. So florists are coming into the nursery. They're getting chemically free, package-free flowers that were picked that day to serve their customers. Same with local farm shops. And people that get my flowers up in Scotland or Wales or Cornwall, there's still dirt on the end of the stems. They were in the ground yesterday. And that's the big difference, is that we're not stopping, we're not preserving them because they've got this 4 or 5 week journey from Kenya in a shipping container into Holland, through the Dutch auctions in Holland, into another container, over to Great Yarmouth, because the shortest bit of water from Holland to us is Great Yarmouth, then into the Midlands, then into a pack house, then into a wholesaler, then off to a letterbox company's warehouse, then into their local depot. Then you buy them and they might last a week, 5-day guarantee. So in the shop, Alstroemeria generally has a 5, 6, 7 day guarantee. Mine will last 3 weeks, 4 weeks in the winter when it's cooler. So they're fresher, they're better for the planet. And we also harvest the flowers correctly. So a lot of flowers that are imported are harvested too tight in bud. So it'd be like picking a strawberry when it's yellowy green or a tomato when it's orange. You're not picking that ripe, juicy fruit. And it's the same with flowers. We harvest our flowers at nice, big, fat, ripe, juicy buds that will open up to be a lovely, big, beautiful bloom. And if it was a deep red, it will be a deep red. Whereas if you pick a deep red variety too tight in bud, it will open up to be a wishy-washy orangey colour. It will never be that colour that nature intended to be. So with British flowers, you're getting obviously a more natural product with the smell and the fragrance and things like that. I mean, my Alstroemeria, they just smell fresh because they're not doused in chemicals. But a lot of the time, roses won't have any scent, stay tight in bud, go brown and die. Big lilies will stay like big brown bananas and never open up properly. So there's a lot of flowers that just never perform as Mother Nature intended. It's because they're old. They've come from afar and they've had preservatives on the packaging and on the flowers themselves to stop the buds opening and all that. So loads of differences.
Yeah, for the consumer, it's just wasting their money, really, isn't it? Because they're not getting quality product, you know.
No.
Hello, my name is Michael Holland and I'm a freelance nature educator and the author of the books I Ate Sunshine for Breakfast, Smart Animals and A Jungle in Your Living Room. And for a very long time, I was head of education at the rather fabulous Chelsea Physic Garden. I'm now on the RHS Education Committee and I love all aspects of the natural world and how it links to our lives. But going back a little while, for my 8th birthday, my parents gave me a copy of The Pip book by Keith Mossman, and it actually changed my life. It explained how to grow an assortment of everyday seeds, stones and pips that would otherwise be discarded from the kitchen. My bedroom windowsill and our airing cupboard were never quite the same again, lined with makeshift propagators filled with the seeds of dates, apples, coffee, nutmeg, avocado and various citruses and plenty of hope. Not everything came to life and there were a fair few disasters, but this hobby of mine taught me about trial and error, patience, life and death, and perhaps more importantly, it set me on a path of loving plants which has stayed with me to this day. Throughout my career, there's always been an element of upcycling, but particularly in giving punnets, tins, cartons and jars a second lease of life as mini greenhouses and plant pots. In my latest book, A Jungle in Your Living Room, a guide to creating your own houseplant collection, this theme continues with DIY activities including a jar terrarium, a teacup succulent collection and growing citrus seeds in old jars. Citruses are really easy to grow and something I've always have a few of on the go. At the moment, I have yuzus, tangerines, lemons, and grapefruit plants dotted around the house. All you need to do is put some moist potting compost into a clean jar and then place the clean citrus seeds onto the surface. Cover with some old clear plastic and wait. In a few weeks' time, you'll see life emerging. When the seeds are large enough to handle, they can be transplanted into their own pots of citrus compost. They make really lovely houseplants with fragrant, glossy leaves, but depending on your climate, you are unlikely to get much or any fruit in a hurry. Did you know that a ripe citrus fruit is called a Hesperidium, which is technically a berry? Also, all of the different types of citrus fruits we now know and love, or perhaps have never heard of yet, originate from 4 zesty ancestors: Citrus micrantha, Citrus medica, the citron, Citrus maxima, the pomelo, Citrus reticulata, the mandarin. These have either naturally hybridized or been crossbred by humans to create the vast variety we have today. This huge citrus variety is not just important for foods and drinks, but also for perfumery, cleaning products, folklore, legend, literature, songs, symbolism, and rituals. In English, Sicilian, and Italian witchcraft, an orange represented the victim's heart. The victim's name was written on paper and pushed into the orange, which was then stuck with as many pins as possible and placed in a chimney until the victim died. That's just taking the piss. And on that citrusy bombshell, I bid you farewell. Thanks and goodbye for now.
No.
So where do you sell your cut flowers then? You sell them into the wholesale trade, but you're also doing boxes by mail order to people at home as well?
Yeah, so it was, like lockdown 1, letterbox home delivery flower sales went up 600-800%. So I contacted all the famous letterbox people you may know out there.
Yeah.
And they use a lot of Alstroemeria, obviously, because they slide into a letterbox because they're quite streamlined and tight-budded, some of them. And then some of theirs don't, but mine would open up beautifully and wonderful. So it's a good flower to put into a small space. You can put lots of stems into a relatively small space. So when they bloom, it's a real impact. And they didn't want my flowers. They just wanted the cheaper imported products. So I thought, well, I'll do it myself then. And it started out with like local deliveries and then mail order. So we supply direct to the public. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but for 25 quid, we do 4 big bunches delivered anywhere in the UK.
Say it all.
25 quid, 4 massive bunches, and we do a little gift message. So if you want bespoke messages, it's a gift. We also supply direct to farm shops, chains of hairdressers that have the paraben-free hair products, florists, farm shops. And there's a lot of people that get married, have parties, events that care about the planet, so their food might be local and the dresses and the clothes, and they contact me because they found out about me through talks and podcasts like this. So we just supply anyone that cares about planet Earth because we've only got one and we need to look after it. So we've basically had to diversify who we supply to survive, and we do supply wholesale locally. So we supply Brighton Flower Market because I can just drive there in half an hour, and I've done a lot of talks around Brighton, and people are that sort of way conscious. So we do quite well that way, but we don't supply Covent Garden or Weston or Spitalfields. And as a kid, I remember slapping on stickers of Sheffield, Birmingham, Manchester. We used to supply the Midland markets as well. And now we don't supply anything because Grandad used to get $1.95 a bunch in the 50s, 60s. Now they give me 50p. It's nearly 2024. I mean, it's unsustainable pricing. So as I say, that's why we've had to reach out to people that care about what they're buying, about traceability, their carbon footprint, and they're the people we supply. But guess what? The number one question I get asked by florist customers all the time.
How do you have such shiny hair?
Yeah, it's natural, sort of unwashed. Is
that the one or not?
It must be the Alstroemeria leaves that I chew on a daily basis. But the number one question is, Ben, do you know anyone else that can supply me a quality product, a consistent product all year round? And it's hard. I can't. 30, 40 years ago, no worries. I could name 10 nurseries just within my local village. But now you struggle. You do really, really struggle. And there's getting less and less out there. So it's the florists, a lot of florists want more British flowers, but there's just not that consistent product. Because my mum worked in a florist, and obviously I know a lot of florists, and they're busy people, you know. They hardly sleep as well. They might get up 2 and 3 in the morning, go to the market, and they might work to the evening to set up for a wedding or an event the next day. So they don't want to be messed about ordering something and it not turning up, or ordering 100 stems and they only get 58 stems, or they order purple and they get lilac. You know, they need what they need, and we just have lost a lot of growers to get that. And my thing is the government. There's no one in the National Farmers Union, NFU, there's no one in DEFRA, and there's no one in government to deal with horticulture or plants or cut flowers. Yes, there's Jamie Oliver when we had the food thing where you want, you know, decent eggs and not battery hen eggs. He could go to the food minister and the school minister about the education minister about school dinners, and the health minister about fatty foods. Me, myself as a grower, there's no one up here at the top level I can go to and ask for any support.
I think that you should be the representative. It should be you. You sound like the ideal.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, we need. I'm busy. I only sleep for 4 hours a day. I'm weeding, tucking in, thinning, pulling, working, and then of an evening I might jump in the car to an hour down the road to give a talk or whatever. You know, it needs proper a proper look at. You know, it's not just Jamie, Jimmy, Hugh, Fernie doing it. Yes, they do. They're the spokespeople for it, but there's people higher up that have helped them, that have helped us get better food labeling, clothes, the fashion industry. That's got way better. You know, if it's 100% recycled, you know you can wash it at 30 degrees. But with flowers, when you go into a shop, where are we now? August. So we're coming up to say next thing Halloween. You'll get Halloween bouquet, 20 quid with plastic rods, with plastic pumpkins in, with loads of sparkly stuff on. All you're seeing is the price and what the bouquet is called. You're not getting what chemicals are on it. You're getting no information about where the flowers have come from, when they were picked. You're getting no information, and that's just not good enough, because for all other industry, even the video game and movie industry, when you're buying your 10-year-old kid a video game that's got the E for explicit on, you know, well, there's some content in that video game that's going to be a bit sketchy and a bit, but I know about that. I'm aware of that, and it's now my decision. So it's not just, we're not relating flowers just to food, but we're relating it to all other industries, like the car industry. When you buy a car, you want to know if it's hybrid, electric, diesel, what's the MPG, you know, all these environmental factors. But with flowers, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, when this Halloween, when you go out shopping at Halloween and you see bouquets of flowers, it will have no information apart from what the bouquet is called and the price. And that is just not good enough. Like you say, when people are spending money, they want to know most of the time what they're spending it on and what the product is made of and things like that. So
yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think maybe this is the appropriate moment then to find out a little bit more about your British Flowers Rock campaign. How did that start? What's it about? Is that something that's going to help, you know, British growers and also the consumer for the future?
Yeah, so I live on site at the moment. So I live on the flower ranch, you know, on the flower nursery, and before that, in the transition period between marine biology and flower grow, I lived in a place called Emsworth, and it's quite a big town near Chai, you know, and they have a horticultural club, and they had posters all around the village every month. Oh, Monty Don's coming to town. This month we're talking about bird of paradise, gardener's question time this month, and there was a phone number at the bottom. It was a phone number basically to become a member of the horticulture, the RHS Horticultural Club. And I took the phone number, and not to be a member, but I took the phone number and phoned the people up and said, I'm happy to give a talk. Do you want to, you know, chat about something local, about something real, about something that the local community can hear about and help and support a local grower? And they were like, nah, because obviously who's going to come to Horticultural Club to see Ben Cross? No one, I'm not on TV. Don't have a book out, seeds to sell and all that. But one day I was on the couch at home.
That would mean I want to see you.
Oh yeah, I want to.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But they didn't obviously. And but one day their speaker let them down. So there was a month where their speaker let them down, and they must have had my phone number on a fag packet somewhere or whatever, you know. And they said, "Oh Ben, can you come and give a talk in half an hour at the village hall?" And I was like,
in half an hour? That's so cheeky.
It is cheeky, yeah. So
they need you now.
Yeah. So obviously racking their brain. And so I got up, and without any video, slides, presentation, nothing, I just went to the hall and spoke to about 100 people. The next day I got loads of phone calls from other horticultural clubs and flower clubs and said, oh, we've heard you do talks. Can we book you? And that was nearly 10 years ago. That was like 600 talks ago. So the frustration is that people obviously like my content. They can relate to it. And it's just a shame that it still needs a lot more, you know. But all I can do as a little grower in Warburton is do my bit. And that's how the British Flowers Rock movement was born, really, that I was like, wow, okay. Because I was quite new to it coming back from marine biology, I just thought, well, everyone knows that pretty much all flowers are important, and obviously no one cares about it. But the thing is, they didn't. When I said, over 90% is imported, there was a lot of oohs and ahs, and I was like, well, you're a horticultural club, surely you know all these things. And they didn't. They didn't. They didn't. They were like, oh yeah, we've never looked at labelling. We've never thought about greenwashing. So when a supermarket puts a picture of a blue tit, like a native British bird, on their thing, I thought that was from Britain. But no, you're right, Ben. It doesn't actually say on there what chemicals are on the packaging, what chemicals on the flowers. It doesn't say where it is. I thought it was local because it said that. And another supermarket will put direct from the grower. Well, I thought it was British because it says direct. So there's obviously, you've heard of brainwashing, but there's a lot of greenwashing within the horticultural industry, and it's rife within the flower industry, where people will say grown by our expert growers, direct from the grower, pictures of birds and flowers and this cottage garden on the packaging, or the flower shop in a lovely little green mosaic writing. But it's not actually telling you any information. It's luring you and brainwashing you and greenwashing people into thinking, well, yeah, surely it's like grown here because it looks like it's all packaged that way. Well, yeah, it is packaged that way to make you believe. That's what it is. That's what greenwashing and brainwashing is, and that still goes on. And it's a lot of supermarket labelling has got worse. And in my talks, when you saw me at Chiswick Market, I have a couple of slides, don't I, about what supermarket labelling was like in 2014 and what it's like now. And basically it's greenwashing is rife. So where it used to say Kenya in tiny little writing, they removed that. And where it used to say a picture of an aeroplane saying air freighted, they've removed that. So they're slowly removing anything that would give you a hint or an idea that it isn't British. Obviously, when it's British, daffodils, sweet williams, they're like, yeah. But consumers have to think daffodils were £1.99, now they're 95p. Sweet williams were £4. I saw them for £1.50 this year. Tulips were £8, now they're £6. Do you think the growers are loving the fact that you're buying flowers cheaper now, but their costs have gone up 600-800%? No, that's like the dairy farmers pouring milk down the drain. So we really
see
got to go direct to the grower. If you want British flowers, try and use the flowers from the farm website. Try and seek out people like me that are getting it from my greenhouse to your house without any middlemen, without anything like that. So that's the best thing people can do. The best thing people can do is grow flowers at home and have them at home. But if it's winter and you don't, seek out growers like me. Okay. And I guess the worst thing, but the other thing is to try and find that British logo and buy British flowers in supermarkets. But that's sort of the last resort, if you know what I mean, because there's been so much from the grower to you buying it. It's lost. The money you're going to pay, the grower's going to get a lot less percentage, obviously.
Okay, so that's great. Great for us to. Yeah, great for us to have more insight into that British Flowers rock. We're almost coming to the end of the interview. This is such great content, though. We absolutely love it. But we just want to dip into Alstroemeria just briefly a little bit more, because it's a flower that we both love. Yeah. Beautiful colours. My grandma used to grow some lovely orange ones as well. But if someone's ordered your cut flowers of your lovely Alstroemeria, any good cut flower tips? We always like to give some take-homes to our listeners. How can we keep them fresher for longer? Do we take the leaves off or not? Because I'm always confused. And you gave a great tip on that on your Instagram a few months ago, I believe.
So, hold it right there. Alstroemeria is not a cut flower, is it, Michael?
There
Come
we
on.
go.
It's a
I'm happy to be corrected.
Flower.
It's a picked. So what would we call that? Picked flowers.
Like rhubarb. So it's a root-based system. So it's not a seed, it's not a bulb, it's a root-based system. Just like rhubarb, you wouldn't cut your rhubarb, you pull it, and it's the same with Alstroemeria. It's a root-based system, and to maintain a nice, healthy root, it's a bit like your carpet in your lounge at home. You want to hoover up the surface of that root system. So instead of pulling it, if you cut it, you're left with this old bit of stem coming off the root that will rot, degrade, and it will inhibit and stop further growth. Whereas if you pull your Alstroemeria, you're tidying up the surface of that rhizome and the root system. You're going to stimulate more growth. If you have a healthier root system, you're going to get better, more quality flowers, and you're going to get a better yield, a better harvest. So, that's the first thing with Alstroemeria, is never call it a cut flower in your lives again. It's a hand-picked or hand-pulled flower. And like most flowers, the more foliage you can take off the stem, the more energy it puts back into the juice of the flower head. And you want to keep it out of direct sunlight, away from electronic equipment and radiators, somewhere cool. And a lot of people go, "Oh, Ben, I changed the water on my flowers, but they still didn't last as long." Well, I'm like, did you cut the bottom of the stems when you change your water? Because bacteria builds up on the ends of the stems. So it's a bit like, I don't know, sucking a straw, but the end of the straw keeps getting blocked up. So you always need to cut the ends of your stems of flowers off when you change your water. That enables them to suck up that fresh water. And another little tip that I see a lot of the time is people using dirty vases. Just clean the inside of your vase, and then that will keep your water fresher for longer as well. So
seems so obvious now, but
real basic tips for looking after flowers in the home. So clean vase, clean water,
thank you,
all that stuff. Yeah.
I love them in a vase. Like they last so long. Like look beautiful, and they just last longer than almost any other flower, pulled or cut flower in a vase.
You could push them to 3 weeks, I reckon.
Yeah, you can. You can really. It's so lovely.
Yeah. In the winter, you get 4 weeks because it's cooler.
Cool.
Like in churches, the church ladies that use them, they're like, "Ben, it lasts a month." I'm like, "Yeah, because it's so cold in that church." But yeah, it's an amazing little flower, and obviously the ones in the greenhouses in the winter, they get between 6 and 9 foot tall. So my ones get really, really tall in the winter because we don't use any artificial lighting, so they get really, really tall. And
do you have a favourite? I have to ask you the question, but do you have a favourite?
I have two. I have what you call a grower's favourite called Dana, which is a beautiful pale pink. Florists love it because it goes with anything, and it just produces all year round. It doesn't get affected by cold, mosaic virus, heat.
Googling that at the same time, it is indeed beautiful. I think my grandma used to have one like that a little bit. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, probably like there are a lot of friendship ones. So that's a good grower's favourite because it's very tolerant to pest disease, root problems. And then I've got one called Odessa, which is a beautiful white with pink and green flecks on. So it's kind of got a real weird combo. We've only got one flower bed. We've got hundreds and hundreds of beds, but Odessa's a real cool little vibe thing going on with the colour. But it's a rubbish producer. It takes a lot of time to maintain, but I just keep it around because I just like the colour of it, So because we do over 70 varieties. Yeah.
Over 70 varieties.
Yeah, I think it's about 76 at the moment. Yeah, whether that's a little trial area or fully fledged sort of beds of it, So,
it must look amazing in your place. Like every time you go out there, you must just be like, "Wow, this looks."
Well, we do, as well as me going off giving talks, we also do tours as well. So we have horticultural clubs, flower clubs coming for organised tours. And sometimes they go, "Oh, it's very green in here." I'm like, "Yeah, we don't want to see any colour in the greenhouse because that means we haven't sold all of our crop. We want it looking green in the greenhouse. We want the plants to look green and not blown with colour because we want the colour. We always want the colour to be with the customer and not in the greenhouse, not left behind." So, but yeah, people love the tours because the talks are good, but to get hands-on experience on the tours, it's it's another thing. Like I saw, what was it called? Farmers Week, Farmers Sunday, something like that, where basically half the farms are open one Sunday of the year. Open Farm Sunday. It's called Open Farm Sunday. And it's a great idea, a bit like British Flowers Week. Great idea, but there's growers like me that are grown all year round. So I sort of take these ideas and make them better by consistently getting that message out there. Jamie and Jimmy are down South End Pier once in a blue moon when they did that TV show. It was on every single Friday, and they just keep banging on about it because people have got short attention spans. So that's why it's like British Flowers Rock all the time to get people through. So that should be the change of caption, not just British Flowers Rock, but it should have the addition of all the time. All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been super interesting. We can tell that you are really passionate about what you do. Where can our listeners find out more about you or come and visit you, or how can they get involved? Any information for listeners would be great.
Yeah, so I put all the talks lists on Instagram and Twitter. So that's Alstroemeria Ben. I think on Instagram, if you type in Ben Cross, it should come up. Also on Facebook, if you type in Crosslands Flower Nursery, we're on Facebook as well. I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll be at Wisley on Sunday the 10th, doing my British Flowers Rock talk up in the new building. They've got a new building set up in the garden there, and I'm one of the speakers for the Wisley Flower Show for that week. So I'm in on the Sunday, and I'm just generally doing lots of videos and talks all around the place. So
excellent. Thank you so much. Very much. Thank you for championing British flowers and for coming on to the podcast. And for any of our listeners, go and check Ben out. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for your time, man.
That's all right. Thanks for having me.
Oh, Ellen, I was about to ask your advice, but you just pressed record. Can I ask your advice live?
Yeah, ask me live. I'll be like, the agony on of horticulture, if you like.
Well, I'm just toying with it at the moment. And I wanted to obviously, everyone's into Substack now, by the way. I'm seeing it's mentioned in all directions at the moment. I think it's about to rise. But anyway, I was going to rename it because I feel like New Plants News is not that interesting.
Oh.
What would you call it off the top of your head? And then I'll tell you what I would call it off the top of my head. If you get what I mean.
But is the content about new plants?
Yeah. It's about my travels and kind of intel into breeding programs and this and this. So
plantarium, plant travels, I'd be a very bad agony aunt, basically.
Boring.
Yeah.
Well,
Go on.
I'm wondering, Ellen Eileen Mary.
Who?
Right. Grow this, not that.
Grow this, not that. But then you're saying only grow this and don't grow all the other things.
Well, yeah, that is the catch. That's the thing I'm thinking.
That's the catch.
It's not quite the message, but it's because obviously by sharing intel on new things, it's obviously when you're growing if you're growing a new plant, you're probably not going to grow if it's a plant that's got an improvement, then it's obviously you've made a choice and the breeder has obviously promoted that and this grow this, not that. Because I always remember many years ago, I don't know if it still exists, there's a book, a diet book called Eat This, Not That. And this is where it's kind of coming from, and that always stuck in my head. And that was, obviously a book that just recommended sunflower seeds and things like that, which I love anyway. So I'm not dissing sunflower seeds. But yeah, so I don't know. It comes from that really. But does that get you going?
Grow this, not that. Grow this way. Grow this, not that. I mean, it's catchy.
And it pricks your ears up.
Yeah, it does that. Yeah.
Well, some other suggestions from our lovely friend Jen. The more you grow, the bloom bulletin, which is kind of cute. Sow and tell. Oh, that's actually quite clever. I just realised now. Soil to spoils. That's like you shit the bed. The pansy post is quite cute because then it's kind of homage to obviously, when you're young, you're a kid, you're interested in plants, people call you a pansy. So it's kind of then with Plant Geek, is kind of then reclaiming yourself, The Garden Path, Ultra Terrestrial, and the New Plant Times.
The New Plant Times. Oh my God, that is by far the best.
Really?
Yes. Because it's like a newspaper, like the New York Times, the New Plant Times, and you are literally talking about new plants. I love that one.
I don't know.
Why not? What makes you not like that one?
It's just, I guess because at the moment it's new plant news, so it just sounds boring like that. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
I really like my side profile sometimes. Yeah.
It's very manly.
Oh. Thank you, Melon. So that was my starter for 10.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you're going to go with the one that you like the best, obviously.
No. I do take a lot of input. Yeah.
Why don't you do an Instagram poll and pick 5 top ones and see what people pick?
Yeah, I don't know. I might do. I'm always like, I don't know, things like that. I'm kind of like, why would I assume people would be interested in this? Do you know what I mean?
But they are, because they sign up, and people are interested about plants and they want to know about new plants and what you might call it. Like, people like to collaborate and give their opinion. And
I saw this morning when I woke up, I had another subscriber on Instagram, so I need to, what'd you do it? Perform. Do some more performance.
You need to perform. Yeah, you need to lay it bare. What, out of Substack and Instagram subscriptions, what do you prefer?
Yeah, I don't know. I really like my attention is a bit like, I'm like a dog with two, what is it? A dog with two somethings. Tails. No, not tails. Well, not dicks. No, I didn't want to say dick. I did. Sorry. I don't know, because Substack's kind of just nice and a homely platform that's a lot more kind of, there's a lot more you can do. It feels a lot more niche as well. And that's kind of where I can work much better and hold all my info.
Yeah.
But Instagram's then, because I see so much, and it's just a nice way to kind of share that with people and kind of, I don't know.
The Instagram subscription thing is I can't quite get my head around it. Like, I've offered subscriptions as well. But it feels like, I know it's meant to be like a members club, but I really hate the kind of almost exclusivity of it as well. Like, I can't get my head around.
The same as you. That's not really my approach to stuff in a way.
And then how do you split what everyone can see and what just subscribers can see? Like, what should the difference be? It's a tricky one, that is.
But then also, we do, like, on the other hand, especially with Substack, it's like, well, we do create, and I do see a lot of stuff, and I invest in those trips. So then I'm kind of like, well, why shouldn't I justify that? But it's so weird asking people for money. That's the weird thing.
That's a British thing, though. In the US, you wouldn't think twice about that. I might do Substack for people, plants, well-being, because I can do lots of kind of more in-depth nature therapy stuff.
And also, it sits there, and you're in control of it, which is a big difference as well. Yeah,
that's cool. Well, you were a leader of Substack. I'm just trailing behind, but I might take a peek at it and see if it would work for that. So what else? What have you been up to anyway? Tell me about some new plants, like the ones you've been punching on Instagram, for example.
I've been in Holland recently making all sorts of different content. We did.
I can't hear you. You've kind of it's like you covered the microphone or something. Oh, there you are. I can hear you again now.
It's because I opened my AirPods. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I've also got a chia seed in my mouth. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Great.
Right, I'm done. Where did I? So some content around living creations hydrangeas. So lots of unique kind of things that was really fun. Dressed as a superhero, just trying to keep things distinct out there. And then we did a live broadcast from there as well for QVC. We're doing one in the Dahlias at Fan Flower Farm this weekend, which is cool. And then what else? And then I'm actually in Holland for about 10 days again this time, because I'm heading up an influencer trip to the Dahlias for QVC. How cool is that?
That's so cool.
And they haven't told me who's coming yet, but I think there's probably be some faces I know, so that's pretty nice. Yeah.
That's really awesome. So when is that?
Where?
When is that?
When? Oh, in about 2 weeks from now, on the 12th and 13th.
Right.
So
amazing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and I'll just have a bit of an explore in Holland, do some visits, share it on Substack, all of that jazz. A Harrogate Flower Show is after, actually, on the 15th to the 17th.
Right.
So
Are you up there?
Yeah, Faith, lovely Faith.
Yeah.
She's a cute little thing. She'll be there.
She is.
Because they do their human gardener stage, which is such a cool thing, isn't it, as well?
They do, and just chat with people on stage.
Socials as well, haven't they? Really nice.
Yeah, really good. You can check them out. Just literally, it's called the Human Gardeners, I think. Yeah, that's really cool.
So that's that. I might shock horror and go on holiday sometime. I don't know.
Holiday? You're taking a holiday?
Well, it's so weird, Ellen, because maybe you have the same, like, because I then travel for work and I'll then do stuff that's like a little bit kind of less involved with my job then. And like, I don't know, like obviously then see a city or this or be involved in the car, but you're still kind of working at the end of the day. You're kind of on call. But then you're kind of always on call when you're a freelancer anyway. So, I don't know. But also,
it's difficult.
Well, because I'm really two-dimensional. Like my hobby is plants and my career is plants. So I'm actually, if you put all that together, it's actually quite boring, you know? Because what I want to do for leisure is also what I do for work. What a muddle!
Yeah, what a muddle to get into. You'll have to pick a holiday destination, like in the desert or something, where there's just no plants.
The thing is, Ellen, as you very well know, plants are all around us.
I know.
And they're responsible for everything. So when plants is your hobby, it is damn right hard to escape.
Well, I don't think we want to escape it. I'm happy to have plants around all of the time. But you're right.
More importantly, had your hair cut?
Yes, I have.
Oh, very nice. An American cut or Norwich cut?
This was an Ellen Mary cut.
Yourself?
Yeah, I cut my own hair. I don't go to the hairdresser. I'll tell you why. Because, well, you know, I had the most horrendous haircut last summer in July, and it stressed me out so much. I refused to go to the hairdresser. So it's taken a year for all of the layers that they cut in to grow out. So this is pretty much the last cut where I've got all of the layers grown out to this length. So now it's like all one length. So yeah, that's my doing.
You look like Ava Max.
Who?
Ava Max.
Who's that?
Well, if you get the cultural reference, you won't be happy. Ava Max is a pop star who has one side of hair longer than the other. Albeit she's blonde.
That's really funny. It's not. It's
yourself at the back. How?
Well, thanks to you. Thanks to YouTube, basically. Look, it's all the same length. Look at that. Isn't that clever?
But what? How? Like, because you pull it to the front and cut it here, or what?
Well, you kind of like when I've washed it and it's wet. Parting it all the way down the middle through to the back and then pull it down so it's completely flat at the sides in two bunches. And then you like tie
Lego
it
hair
where you want to cut it. And this is like, it will need to be like tidied up at some point, and my like the sides and the fringes all need doing, but I had enough of these ridiculous layers that have taken a year to grow out, so I just cut it so it's all one length and we can start all over again.
Oh, Ellen, how lovely.
How brave am I?
I do remember last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really felt for you because it didn't look that nice, did it?
It didn't. Thank you. It didn't.
I remember it had a distinct mullet vibe.
Yeah. So someone told me that it was called an octopus cut-ish.
Really?
Yeah, so like, because it was like a mushroom on top and then flicked out a bit at the bottom, so it looks a bit like an octopus. I went into a really good hairdresser with photographs of what I wanted, and he took his own creative juices to it, and basically
octopus.
No, it was nothing like that haircut, and he basically done his own thing, and then afterwards, I'll never forget it.
Yeah,
he said to me, I looked in the mirror, I was like, well, that's nothing like the photographs. He said, well, this is my own take on the photographs. And I was like, I didn't ask for your take on the photographs.
Did you have an argument?
No, there was no argument.
You didn't give a tip, though, I hope.
No, absolutely not. But it's like embarrassing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And then also sometimes with a girl's hair, especially, you come out and you think, oh, when I wash it and dry it, it will be fine. Do you know what I mean? They've just styled it their way. But then I got home and washed it and dried it, and it didn't do anything other than look like a mullet cross octopus. So yeah, it's taken a year and a month to grow out.
Oh my God. Well, this reminds me, there's a really nice dahlia called Sparkly Octopus. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't, but that's a
Have a look at my Substack.
That's a great segue back to plants. I like it.
Oh, that's nice, Ellen Mary.
Anyway, there you go.
I recently, in pictures, I noticed like my hair is like like my barber says it's like because my crown is on the side, but I just noticed this. I can't see it now, but there's always this kind of bare bit at the side, and I'm always then kind of like seeing it and looking at it, and it's kind of like really weird. I think it is where my crown is because it's not the part of hair where it would recede. Do you know what I mean? It's like this corner.
No.
It's really weird. But the minute you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, hair is a funny thing, isn't it? Like we shouldn't care so much about it, but it is like a big deal.
All of these things, Ellen, it's so weird. All the things that we care about, and I always have these like thoughts of our significance. Do you know what I mean? And I'm always like kind of, I don't know, just like, I don't know, just thinking about just how something is to be and how like most stuff is kind of not even meaning anything. And just, I don't know what I'm trying to explain here, but I think you get it. So
100%. Like
there must be a word for what I'm trying to explain. I don't know.
I know quite a few people who've really started to like think quite deeply about stuff like that. And I wonder if it hits you when you get to your 40s, because really this whole kind of like...
Yeah, I wouldn't have said I always had, but certainly for maybe a couple. Yeah,
exactly. What's real, what to believe, what matters, like why it is, how we think. And I find so many people seem to enter that sort of space when they hit their 40s. So maybe it is like a mini midlife thing.
You're more kind of reviewing stuff, or
I question everything now in a positive sense, but I question everything. Why is it like that? How is it like that? Why do we believe that? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that important? Is that meaningful? Does that impact life? Like, it's a weird thing, but I never used to do that either. So I think it's a 40s thing. And
even how we are what we are as actual humans. You know what I mean? It's just, it blows your mind, really.
I've been listening to an audio book called Sapiens, which is absolutely brilliant. It's called Sapiens.
Oh, no, I know what you mean. I think I started when I was younger. I think I might be old enough to read it now, actually.
Yeah, it's a long book, and it's in depth, but it takes you through all times, from the beginning of human life. And it's just really eye-opening and interesting. And actually, talking about plants, you have the longest tongue that you're sticking out at me there.
Isn't it amazing?
Talking about plants, we always say that the Industrial Revolution kind of changed everything, but actually it was the agricultural revolution before that changed everything, and how wheat became a commodity. So and that's what changed humans. Being, I'm really pleased that my intellectual conversation is interesting.
I'm sorry, no, we'll come back to that. But do you think I have got a big tongue?
Yes, you do. It's disgusting, actually. It's so big, I don't want to look at it.
Oh, I thought you might take a picture for myself.
Like, if you were to eat an ice cream, I feel like you'd be able to take the whole ice cream ball in one go.
Oh, that's really weird. Oh my God, I could be on like a daytime show with guy with the biggest tongue.
Well, I mean, if you want to be famous, then you could sure do that.
Oh my God, that's mad. Oh, anyway, Ellen. I did some online. Sorry, my tongue's so big I can't say the words. I did some online workshops for Barakura, the English garden that I work with in Japan.
Yeah.
I have to store my container. It is beautiful, even if I say so myself.
It is. I saw it online. It's very nice.
Do you know, I really when you have like an idea and you're kind of like, oh my God, that would be so big to do it. But if someone else did it, I'd like to just kind of do it with them. I have these ideas like every day of the week, actually. Like, it'd be so cool to like do a kind of like, take an apartment block and do a service to kind of do their containers with each season, because I'm sure there would be so many kind of customers that would be happy to do that, and you just go in, do their pots, and
for sure.
Why does no one do that service?
I don't have the answer. Maybe there's costs involved with it, or I don't know.
I think it would be a faff, but that's why I don't want to do it, because it would be a faff.
Well, it's a good idea for someone else who might like to do it. You've just given people an idea.
Well, I was banging on to you the other day about a gardening club again, wasn't I?
Tell me about this gardening club. Come on.
Well, that's all I got to tell you, really. That's all I thought. Oh, I want to run a gardening club.
And really, my overall answer was, well, go run a gardening club then.
Yeah, I don't know. I just suddenly had this epiphany, like on the sofa.
Don't worry.
from my own experience, No Fear Gardening, which I ran in Norwich for a good few years. Actually, that's how we met, Michael. That's literally.
I know. Without that gardening club, we
came to the first one. It was really fun. I met loads of people, and it definitely served a purpose. And I actually stopped it during COVID because obviously we couldn't run in person. Then I was overseas, and I just kind of didn't carry on. No one else wanted to take the helm.
Then.
Pardon? Yeah. I stopped just during COVID, just before COVID. And all I can say is there's a heck of a lot more work than you think it is. It's like if you think, I just need to get a speaker in a venue and we're all good. It just isn't that. Like, it took a lot of hard work, and I constantly tried to get other people involved to help out to do it. Nobody wanted to.
Why didn't you have a committee?
It was really hard to get people on board. Yeah, and this was years ago now anyway, but I'm not saying, I mean, do it. It's very rewarding. Just know that it will take time.
Again, it's on my list of things that I would not do alone.
Yeah, and then I offered to help you and you said no, so that was...
I didn't say no, did I?
Yeah, you said you needed people that weren't in the US some of the year.
No, I was talking about I was talking about everyone. No, because my intention was that it's like obviously a group of people that run it, but I think that is why you need it, because we're not always here, you're not always here, I'm not always here. So that was my thinking as to why it needs to be something with like at least 3 people that run it and stuff. No, but I was kind of because what's really strange, like in London there's no gardening club really, and you would think there's maybe a market for kind of something a bit kind of newer, trendier, kind of like No Fear in a way. And the reason I started thinking this is because the Hoxton Hotel in Southwark, where I've done some talks last autumn, I saw on Instagram they were starting an art club in the sky, because obviously all the workspace is on like the 10th floor. And I just thought like that would be a cool place for a garden club, because that would be, obviously balcony planters, but also houseplant stuff that is obviously a big city thing as well. I don't know. So I was just going on.
Well, there's another idea for you to do. I
still average 12 ideas daily.
I mean, they just keep on coming, don't they?
I had another idea recently. What was that? Oh, yeah, I know. Flower shows, marquee, and I messaged Helen Boehm about it. Should do container demonstrations and take plants from each of the nurseries. How cool would that be?
What did she say? What did she say? Yes, please, Michael, come and do that.
She's on her way to Santorini.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. She's not going to reply just yet.
But no, I just think it's a really cute idea, and I think that could be cool, and because it just brings people together and this and that. So, and I never mind giving ideas to people because I just want to see cool stuff happening, really. So.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't do everything yourself anyway, so...
Absolutely. Yeah. And I find it really funny when people don't like it if people are doing something that they're doing, or they take an idea and do something slightly different with it. You never know when someone
thought of an idea, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, it's all about sharing, and the plant community is all about that. Do you know what I mean as well? So stop putting your tongue out at me, Michael.
Totally.
Like, literally, you're going to do that one day. I'm going to snip it off.
Oh, Ellen. Are you growing Diavilla yet?
No.
It's
Are you?
Such a cool plant. No, it's a bush honeysuckle, and I love it.
No. Okay.
That's all I have to say. It's really bulb season, Melon.
Oh my gosh. The thought of I saw my first post come up online the other day saying, now's the time, to start looking at planting, what autumn bulbs you're going to be getting. I was like, oh my God, I still feel like it's June. I'm not there yet. I'm so behind with the garden and allotment, entirely.
Not to talk about the weather, but we have left it 20 minutes. But I just feel like in UK we've been cheated of the summer.
Yeah, it's not been great, has it? I mean, June was amazing. June was beautiful. It was hot. Yeah, and then after that it just rained really. So it's been probably my worst year for vegetables on the allotment in years.
I remember us saying that maybe 2 years ago as well.
That was when it was hot, I think. But I mean, mine done okay because I'd mulched it so heavily. But this last year's been a struggle on the allotment. The cut flowers have gone wildly beautiful, but the vegetables needed more sun. So that's a shame. And the weeds have gone wild also.
Oh, flip to the floor.
Well, but you know what? I can't. You can't worry about it. Like, I know that's easy to say, but
Well, no.
It's like this is gardening, and every year is different. The climate changes. Each month is different. Every year you experience something different when you're growing. So you just sort of have to go with the ebb and flow of it, you know.
And it's like we're always trying to control it and all of that, and like just need to drop that really. That attitude.
Just go with it. Just have to work with it. And I know it's frustrating, of course, especially if you're trying to grow lots of food for your family. But at the end of the day, you know, we have to learn to adapt to the different climate, you know, each year. And that's just, it can be tricky, but yeah. All right, okay, so we're boring you now.
Sorry. No, I woke up so early today. I really didn't want to wake up.
You've been at BBC London, did you say? BBC London today? You went off to record at BBC London?
Yeah, no, but I was like, well, I was meeting a friend for breakfast in the morning anyway, but I was like awake at like 5:30 or something.
Right.
But I'm really like, I never close the curtains. So I'm always kind of like woken up by the light. And that's not necessarily very healthy, is it? I don't know. Everyone always says blackout is really important.
Yeah, I like blackout.
Yeah.
My husband would prefer a bit of light, I think. But yeah, I like blackout. And then I've been getting up really early. You'd be super proud of me because I'm doing this yoga teacher training. And the only way to fit it in, and because I'm training with a company in India, so I'm going directly from the source.
That's really cool.
I have to be doing it at like 5:30 in the morning to get to fit it in. So I've been getting up early. Early.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And start your day right.
Start the day right, yeah. I pass out like in the evening really early though, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, well, I'm really happy about all that.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, hello. You come to say hello. I think the dog might start barking. She might need a wee.
Oh,
no? Oh, no, she's gone away. Good-o. Okay, well, it's
be on the balcony.
Pardon?
Does she wee on the balcony, or does she have to go down?
And we have a mat on the balcony, like a dog mat that she can wee on if she wants, but she never really does. We take her out. She has about 10 walks a day, so it keeps us fit, and she's fine. She's definitely a good apartment dog. She's more like a cat than a dog.
Yeah. That's cute.
She's cute. Cute and cheeky all in one go. Well, I have to go because I do have to go to the dentist to have my front tooth fixed because I cracked it.
Oh no.
It's extraordinarily painful. Even when I'm talking to you, I'm having to hold my lip over it because it hurts.
Oh.
So that's what I'm... No idea.
Maybe an avocado stone.
Maybe an avocado stone.
I was just desperate to insert some vegan joke.
It's like I only eat salad, avocado, and hummus as a vegan.
Yeah.
I know. I've heard all of the jokes.
Awesome. Well, oh my God, I've got 3 different interviews on podcasts like from now until like 7, because a couple from US. Yeah. So like after meeting them at Garden Com, there's a guy, where is he? In Alabama, Craig McManus. And honestly, Ellen, I was going to tell you about this actually. It's he wanted a prep call yesterday, and he sent through like his questions later in the day. And honestly, really, really amazing prep and great questions. So we should copy those. Cool.
Yeah.
Also, do you know Kathy Gents? She does Garden DC. Yeah. She's so cute. That one. And I'm also doing something on the RHS podcast. I need to check what they want me to talk about, actually. I think it was bulbs. Or I'll talk about bulbs anyway.
You need some prep for that, for sure.
Why? Why would you have to prep more for that than the others? That's just racist.
What I meant was you said that Kathy had sent you an amazing prep.
No, not Kathy. Craig. Craig
sent you amazing prep. So... Yeah. I was comparing that to the RHS. So I'm saying the prep from them, not from you.
Yeah. Cool, darling.
All right. Well, I'll let you go and talk to all of those very important people and look forward to hearing them later.
I'll let you straighten up your face then.
Yeah, thank you. Face and hair today.
Look at that. Now I'm in heaven. Right. All right. Bye.
Bye. Series 12 of the Plant-Based Podcast is sponsored by People Plants Wellbeing, the nature-based wellness studio where you can find your magic through the power of plants and nature. Take 10% off all services, treatments, and retreats with our exclusive discount code for you, our podcast listeners. Use code PBP Series 12 via the website or when you contact the team to book. Next Wellness Days are coming up soon. Find out more and book your place at peopleplantswellbeing.com or on Instagram at peopleplantswellbeing.
The music for the Plant-Based Podcast is part of the song Grow by Mikey James, and our editor is Gareth Patch of Semi Echo.